Hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar on LS Nav Hospitality Web POS and how it will give you a better mobile experience in your restaurants. My name is Gunnar Orn Thorsteinsson and I am the product owner for our LS Hospitality product. Before we start, let's go over some practical issues about the webinar. Please ask questions by typing them into the questions window that you can find in the control panel of the GoToWebinar session. We will have a Q&A session in the end of the webinar, and I will answer your questions. Please note that the session is being recorded, and you will receive a link to the session in a few days after. So, mobility for everyone. This is the LS Nav Web POS. The retail Web POS has been available now for more than a year, since the 10.0 version in March last year. The new 11.03 release, due later this month, will cover our hospitality processes and improve the mobile story for our hospitality customers. Mobility is becoming increasingly important to the restaurant operators, as it gives them the advantage of taking the orders at the table and managing all the guests' operations in front of the guests, communicating directly with the kitchen through the POS and seeing an up-to-date status enables the waiter to inform guests on the process and add to the order if needed in a quick and easy manner. Also, being able to collect payments at the table can increase turnaround times and makes the whole process easier, simpler and faster. There are some key points on the Web POS I would like to emphasize. The Web POS is a low-footprint POS which runs in a web browser, which can be Chrome, Safari or Firefox, and no deployment is needed. You just simply start the browser with the right URL and the user can use the POS. It is also platform agnostic, so you can run it on any device such as Windows, Android or iOS. This gives our customers a much wider selection of devices to run the POS on. It can be a stationary POS, tablets or phones. You can also run this in a hybrid setup with a mix of all this, having a Windows stationary POS or an Android tablet at the host station, and then have a PAX A920 payment tablet terminal or a phone for taking orders at the table and finalizing the bills. With the Web POS, all of the mobility code is now in one single code base, which is NAV. Therefore, all customizations that are done in LS NAV are also immediately available in the Web POS, which is a great benefit as only one skill set is needed and no extra work is needed for mobility. This lowers your cost of ownership and simplifies customizations, configuration and setup. And the Web POS can make use of peripherals either through the LS hardware station or the Epson intelligent printer, offering you multiple ways to connect to your peripherals in your restaurant. So, what is included in our Hospitality Web POS version 1? We support the following key processes in this release. The table management process using the table list view or table grid view, but you can also use the graphical table layout with some minor limitations. This is of course essential for taking the order at the table and managing the guests and sending to the kitchen, etc. You can transfer tables for the typical scenario when guests start having a drink at the bar and then they move to a table inside the restaurant. And the KDS processes such as sending to the KDS and viewing the status of the kitchen order tickets or the COTS. We also support the split bill for paying by seat, split items between seats, or whatever way the customer wants to. So full parity with the split bill that you have on the current Windows POS. and you can do payments through the hardware station, and you can either use the supported LS Pay payment providers, or partners can integrate specific EFT solutions if needed. And then we also support all of the typical hospitality processes like loading cards, allergens, item availability, and of course, last but not least, we also support the member management and the loyalty processes. We recommend the Web POS in the current version for screens larger than 7 inches if using the split bill or table transfer, as the screen panels for these processes do not scale to small sizes. We are currently working on a new user experience for these, and they will be released in the near future. And here on the slide you can see an illustration of this of the environment that you can have in your restaurant, where you have the store database, and either you can have a Windows POS or a Web POS. And as you can see, the Web POS is supported on iOS, Android, Windows, etc. We are working on, in future versions, later versions on the Web POS, to support the full process of hospitality. There are some processes that still do not work on the Web POS, and these are mainly the graphical table layout using design and adjust. If you are moving tables around on the graphical table layout or joining tables, this still doesn't work on the Web POS. Also, the table allocation screen, where you take walk-ins or reservations and managing those to allocate to a specific table. This screen is also in progress and doesn't work on the current release, as well as the deliveries and takeouts and the call center. All of these processes are on a roadmap and will be supported in future versions, and we are working towards getting full feature parity with the Windows POS, so all the functionality available in our current POS system is also available in the Web POS. So future versions we will give you even a greater mobility. In the current version, it is possible to run the Web POS on small devices for some processes like order taking at the table and for simple payments. There are some limitations for these devices when the screen is smaller than 7 inches, mainly for the split bill, as mentioned before, and the table transfers. But we are working on a full phone and small device experience for our customers to support this. One of the limitations of the Web POS when run in a browser is that the POS cannot communicate with the built-in device peripherals, such as a scanner, magnetic stripe reader, camera, etc. Therefore, we are also working on a new app, which we call App Shell, which will be later available both on Android and the iOS platform, and enable payments on these devices as well. And here on the slide you can see how this works. So the App Shell will communicate directly with the device peripherals, and it is an app which will run on iOS and Android, and you can make payments. And this is an example of a device, an integrated device, and the App Shell is an app which, as I said before, hosts the browser that the Web POS runs in. And this app will handle the communication with the peripherals, and you can make payments through the payment entry device on the device. And you can either have a built-in peripherals, or the app can also communicate with peripherals through the hardware station. And the device I'm showing here is called PAX A920. And with this App Shell, the operators will get a complete mobile story, making it possible to take orders at the table, sending to the kitchen, and then finally handle all the payments at the table. All the demo layouts that we currently have in our demo data at LS Retail, they are targeted towards larger screen sizes for tablets or stationary POSs. But we are also working on creating new layouts that will fit on smaller devices. And here's a sample on how it can look like. But note that these are prototype and might change in the future. But basically, to the left, we have a simple logon screen. In the middle, we have a phone that is showing all of the tables in a list view. And you can filter on free occupied tables, etc., to easier navigate around. And to the right, you see a pop-up menu showing the context-sensitive operations that are available for a specific table that you click. And then when you're opening the POS, you can create a small scale menu which will show you all of the menu options that you have, and you can also use the classic modifiers that you have been adding to the items and recipes. And to the right, you see a sample of a payment menu. Now this concludes my my presentation, and I will now go to and show you a short demo of the Web POS. So what you see here is two POSs. The one on the left is a Windows POS, and the one on the right is a Web POS. It's in the same store, and they are steering exactly the same interface profile. So there's no extra work needed to run the Web POS if you're using the same size of screens as you're doing on the Windows POS. So on the Windows POS, I can log on, and also on the Web POS. And you can see the similarities here. So I can go in and I can seat some guests on the Web POS. And as you can see here in the Windows POS, working in the same way, you can see how tables get locked. Sorry about this. So the people working on each POS, they get notified and they lock the table while you're working on it. Now I mentioned the transfer tables, so let's assume that you have the upstairs bar, so you can have people entering the bar and you take some drinks here. And it is, so I take 2 drinks and I can send them to the kitchen. And now you can see here, this is a virtual printer, so the drinks typically is sent to the kitchen to a printer. So when I send those here, I decide on all, click OK, and OK on this, and I get a kitchen ticket printed out from the Web POS. Now exiting this, I can go up and I can go to the Windows POS. I can even transfer to another table here, so table number 11A. And now you can see table 27 is released. Go to my restaurant downstairs, and I can see now on table 11 on my Web POS that it has been moved. So in this way you can see how the Web POS and the Windows POS, they work on the same stored database with the same transactions, with the same interface, and there is virtually no difference between those two frameworks. And here I can add some more items. I get my modifier window to the web POS, and I can send them to the kitchen. And I can say OK. And now you will see how my kitchen order ticket, my items have been sent to the kitchen. I have a preparation screen on the left and the expediter on the right. I can bump my items on the expediter and see how the status is moved. And then when I'm going to conclude the order, I can split my bill on the web POS. So I can select some items here and to seat number 1 and mark all of the rest items to sorry about this. We'll just conclude the payment for seat number 1 here. Go into the POS, pay for it in cash. Printing out the payment or the receipt. And the drawer is open. And in this way I'm concluding the payment at the table through the web POS. So in this way I have full feature parity between the same processes in the web POS and the Windows POS. And for those of you who know the products, they see how similar it is. So I think this is it, and I thank you for your attendance and time. And as I mentioned before, you will receive the recording in a few days. Thank you very much.